right. We have on the phone Mark Stewart from the Advocates here. And let me see if I can get a theme song going for you, Mark.
Yeah, do you have some legal theme song we can use for...
Oh, wow.
That
went
works.
with a deep cut. Deep cut.
Yeah, there's some law happening there.
That's some serious law happening there. Mark Stewart from the Advocates on the phone. And again, if you have any questions, 877-602-9696, and you can talk to an attorney. That is Mark Stewart. Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Good, Mark.
Right.
You know, we talk a lot about needing to call the Advocates for car accidents. You know, that's what Katie called you for. We've had a couple people in the office call you for that. But those aren't the only kind of accidents you deal with, right?
No, they're not. So we actually handle any type of personal injury accident. So primarily auto accidents, but also slip and falls, trip and falls, dog bites, which it's actually interesting. During the coronavirus, we noticed that there was an uptick in dog bite calls that we were getting. And all of the attorneys were wondering, we thought this is really weird that we're getting so many dog bite calls. And then there was actually a national news story where around the country they were noticing that dogs were more aggressive. And so this was on NBC, but there was a veterinarian that they had come in who said that he thought the reason why there were more dog bites is because the dogs weren't used to people being home as much. And so they feel like it had somehow kind of thrown dogs off, and there was this big uptick nationwide of dog bites. So that was kind of interesting.
Be at work.
Well, I know.
I'm used to my alone time. Why don't you go somewhere?
Well, now my dog Ripley is happy that I'm home, but I get the feeling I'm getting a little resentment from Hudson. So I wonder if maybe that's the deal.
He wants you back in studio.
Well, that's just too damn bad, Hudson. I am here for the foreseeable future.
But I can see where people, Mark, think, oh, I'm not the kind of person that would sue anybody. It was just an accident. I don't want to get attorneys involved. Talk to those people tell them they're not bad people for wanting to get some help.
For sure. We hear that all the time. People that call in and say, look, someone hit me. I understand that accidents happen. I've hit someone before. If I hit someone, I wouldn't want someone to sue me. The nice thing is really we only end up suing probably 1% of the cases that we take on. The majority of them, it goes against the other driver's auto insurance, which is why Utah law requires everybody to carry auto insurance for a situation where you get in an accident. So we make the claim with the auto insurance, and then we work exclusively with the auto insurance companies to reach a settlement. So it's very rare that you'd actually be suing the other person or that you'd be involved in a lawsuit. And even if you are, again, it's going to be the auto insurance company that's paying for their lawyer and paying all of the costs. So the individual really doesn't bear anything when we go after them.
Well, walk us through what it's like to call, say you're in an accident, take us step by step, how that works.
Sure. So the first thing we always tell people to do if they're in an accident is first call the police. So once you've done that and the police have come out to the scene, then we would recommend reaching out to an attorney and just telling them what happened. When you call our office, you're going to talk to a receptionist who takes the call. They'll ask you a few initial questions, and then they're going to pass you right on to an attorney, which makes us different from a lot of the other local law firms. A lot of those law firms, you don't end up talking to an attorney who screens your case. But with the Advocates, you're going to talk to myself or one of my partners. We'll go over your case with you. Even if you don't have a case, we're going to give you advice as to what you can do. And then if we end up taking on your case, like I mentioned earlier, we'll start working with the insurance companies with our main goal that you get whoever's injured, that they go to treatment and get better is really what we're hoping.
877-602-9696 if you'd like to ask Mark a question right now, or text it in. You know, some people are kind of shy. You can text in your question to 33986. And it's true when Mark talks about that, because we've been to lunch with you guys, and we're in the middle of a conversation, and somebody says, "Oh, and they step out of the restaurant to take a phone call because you guys are on call 24 hours a day. Has that affected your relationships at all?
Yeah, my wife would probably say yes. There's movies that we've been to where we've stepped out. I've had to step out of a movie or dinner all the time. But yeah, that's one of the unique things about the advocates. It's 24/7, and it's 24/7 that you're going to talk to an attorney. So if you call in at 3 a.m. or even on our website, we have a chat feature that's handled by an attorney. If you jump on online in the middle of the night, you're going to be talking to an attorney.
Have you had to make any interesting adjustments due to COVID, or seen, like you mentioned with the dog bites, you had an uptick in those? Anything else COVID related, how you guys are handling client meetings and that kind of thing, or interesting calls you've been getting because of COVID?
Yeah, so with COVID, we're obviously following the CDC guidelines. Anyone that doesn't want to meet in person, we're set up so everything can be done online and over the phone. So the majority of the sign-ups of new clients we've been doing over the last 4 or 5 months, we have been doing just either through a Zoom meeting or online for people that don't feel comfortable coming into the office. People are obviously wearing masks, washing their hands, doing all of those things. And calls, really, for a while there, accidents had actually gone down because there weren't as many people out on the roads. But now that things are getting a little bit more back to normal, we've seen an uptick in cases. And I would just remind people now with today, I think the majority of Utah schools starting back today and some of them last week, that there's more kids that are out in the school zones and that. And we do tend to see a lot of calls when school is back in, just because there's more pedestrians out on the street and those types of things, and more stop and go traffic going through school zones. So obviously be cautious of that as you're out driving.
We have time for a quick phone call. Let's go to Mike. Mike, are you there?
Hello, how are you?
Mike, hi. Go ahead and ask an advocate. Go ahead.
Okay, so long story short is back in mid-December, I was involved in a car accident. I was rear-ended. Obviously the other guy's fault. At the time, it showed that he had insurance on his vehicle from the database that the officer looked up, but ultimately he did not have insurance. He had never paid his premium. So my insurance has been picking up everything, and I'm still going to my head and neck guy and, physical therapy and all this stuff. My insurance company is not pressuring me to settle and be done, but they say that there's going to come a time when I feel that I am done, that I can be settled, and they pay out whatever. So my two questions are this. Shouldn't somebody be responsible as far as, like, the state of Utah to keep track of actual insurance, like who has insurance and whatnot? Because the guy didn't get what should have come to him as far as being ticketed and the process of not having insurance on a bank-owned vehicle, no less, which maybe the bank should be picking this up. I don't know. And then my other question is it possible to have some sort of assurance that 5-10 years from now, when my neck is most likely still going to not be 100%, and if I need future medical assistance, is that something that can be written into some contract or something that I have with my insurance company to make sure that I am covered?
Go ahead,
Does that make
Mark.
sense?
Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah. Thanks for the questions, Mike. So answer the first one. There is not a state database that keeps track of everybody having insurance. It's like laws. The law's there. Us as citizens are responsible for following those laws. So really the only remedy in a situation like that is the officers can give someone a ticket if they find out that they don't have insurance. So in your case, at the scene, it sounds like it appeared that he did have insurance, so they probably didn't write him a ticket. But they could go back if it was proven to them that he didn't have adequate insurance at the time of the accident, and they could issue a ticket. So that's really the only remedy there as far as him not having insurance. Answer to the second question, that's really what we do as attorneys is we make sure that the insurance company, even when it's your own insurance, because in your situation, the claim that's being made is called an uninsured motorist claim. being that the driver that caused the accident didn't have insurance, so you're forced to make the claim through your own insurance, which I'll just quickly say doesn't do anything to you as far as it doesn't raise your premiums. Your insurance company can't drop you. It's part of the coverage that you're paying for when you're paying your monthly premium. So when you get in an accident like this, you have some way of getting everything taken care of. So what we do in that situation is if there is going to be lingering issues or it looks like you could have treatment that's going to extend for several years, you do have a 4-year period of time in Utah to submit a claim. So you have essentially 4 years that you could be receiving treatment before you had to reach a settlement. And even then, at the conclusion of the 4 years, you could file a lawsuit and continue on. But typically what we do, if treatment's exceeding more than a year and a half or so, and a doctor thinks it's going to be longer, the doctor will write some type of report saying, look, this is what Mike's injuries are. This is what I think he's going to need going forward. This is an estimate of what that type of treatment would cost. And then in any settlement negotiations with your insurance company, we'd be asking them to include all of those things in the settlement so that you could continue to get treatment.
You see, Mike, you should have called the advocates. You really should have.
You still can.
And you still can.
I've
Still can.
And you know what? I've been back and forth on this for a while, and I assume that there's no time frame as far as when I can't acquire an attorney if things aren't working out. I could call anytime during this process with my insurance?
Right. So, yeah, you can call really at any time. We always encourage people to get an attorney involved sooner rather than later, just so the insurance company doesn't try and pull any tricks on you. And the biggest thing that we tell people is so that you don't have to worry about it.
All right,
You're
guys,
worrying about community.
You're Mike, 801-355-5550, or go to UtahAdvocates.com.
Call and talk to Mark when we have more time. We're all out of time, you guys. Thank you so much, both of you. We'll talk to you again, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, look forward to it. Yeah, thank you. Have a good week.
You too. Bye-bye.